Hello, get up, wake up, wakey wakey. I am Johnny Boy, the Consumer Monkey McDonald. This is Business Live Global, interviewing businesses like yours. Let me hear you scream. Yeah. So, Business Live Global listeners, my name is Jonathan. I'm going to be doing a series of interviews with businesses, with leaders, with game changers around the world to give you advice, insights, and updates to help your business go forward. Join our group at Business Live Global and meet an international array of all kinds of businesses. And in these shows, we get to play your favorite song at the end of the episode. So let's see who we've got in the chair today. Give yourself a raise and get on the right side of money. I give you Tanya Legault. Tanya, hello.
Hi, how are you?
All the better for seeing you. Tell people a bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. So I'm Tanya. I am based out of Canada and East Coast, so a little chilly sometimes. And ultimately, I have a organization that has an international scope. And indeed, my purpose is to help individuals give themselves a raise and really enable them to have that financial autonomy.
So it's services for people that want to become entrepreneurs. Why did you get into entrepreneurship, and how do you
That's a
define
great
it even?
That's a great question. So for myself, I always knew that entrepreneurship was the bridge to achieve the goals that I had or the vision that I saw for myself in the future. But I have to admit, I was a little unsure of how do you get started in entrepreneurship, right? Because everybody wants to start a business, but we don't know where to start. And so for myself, I thought, well, you always want to, when you discover something, pay it forward to the next individual. So that's where, for me, I thought, well, entrepreneurship, I know, is the vehicle to have that freedom to do what we want. And then you get the financial freedom that you desire through that. And so I figured, how can I also leave an impact through that means? So enabling aspiring entrepreneurs to get into the business ownership space was really near and dear to my heart. And namely, I like to help, for example, marginalized communities that might have been disfavored by the workplace. Hence why entrepreneurship is so attractive, because they can really earn the value that they see for themselves and not be dependent on employment or government subsidies. So, for example, women, I'll speak for Canada, we fall into what is known as a protected group. So just to prevent from that discrimination. And then I also love to help the veterans, because when you leave the military, the support might differ from when you were in the military. And entrepreneurship can be that new status that they acquire, give them that new project they can work towards. So that's pretty much in a nutshell why entrepreneurship for me and the benefit it can offer to the public that I serve.
So your entrepreneurship is the obviously top tier consulting. What, especially these marginalized communities that do, there's a whole range of information coming out about the impacts for their stress and health in the workplace. But what kind of business ideas do people generally come to you with?
Ultimately, often they won't know. There's a lot of hype around sales and marketing. I'll do digital marketing, or I'll do content writing. And so that's fantastic, but that's a very saturated market. And you've got technologies that are making that easier. So it becomes more accessible. So the allure or the attraction of entrepreneurship is to earn money for yourself. But if free resources are doing that for you, again, it takes that edge away. So as a result, we discover that maybe a universal, a global business that has a few offerings is the best avenue that enables them to get started in entrepreneurship, which is always the hardest part, getting started in anything. And then as they kind of get familiar with what the market has to offer, how they resonate with each offering that, for example, our business in a box proposition puts forth, they can find their own voice, because it's not in the financial sector that you necessarily associate veterans. However, through my experience, that's a link that automatically got made in my brain. So that's why I encourage individuals to get started, take action. And I'm happy to speak to anyone who is just in that beginning idea generation phase, because perhaps we can assist them, perhaps not, but for sure they'll know where to move forward. Because you probably heard this, Jonathan. I don't really know what I want, but I sure do know what I don't want. And so just by process of elimination, sometimes you can get to that end goal that you are seeking.
So you'll guide a person through that questioning and idea creation phase that can be somewhat daunting, I think, for people that have, have worked in a very regimented, veteran army career or what have you, and then you come out into the world and you don't have the structures around you. So I want to become an entrepreneur. I don't know what I want to do. Oh, I'll tell you what, actually, I read this book called Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley, and he said, there's this line in it, he said, when the market is saturated, create your own market. And he's speaking really about micro niching. But I want to become an entrepreneur. What do I do? What should I do?
Ultimately, I mean, there's a multitude of options that are available to you. The easiest is to pick a person that you can emulate, that you can model, that you can take the lead from in order to get to where you want to go. Because it's as if you are on a bicycle ride and you are all following each other. The person guiding this whole troop of bicycles will make that navigation a little easier. But if you are starting out and you're leading the pack, that's not the best way to go. So finding an individual who resonates with you, it could be in person. These at times can be found maybe at a chamber of commerce in your neighborhood, or perhaps certain incubators might help. Obviously, we always have social media with its diverse communities that exist that can, for example, if I wanted to be a graphic artist, I might resonate with a community that's very arts and creative in terms of its community members. If you are completely at square one and saying, Tanya, already you are speaking beyond my scope of understanding and knowledge, I'm happy to have a one-to-one just to chat. I come from an HR background, so I won't bite. And I'm accustomed to walking individuals through that thought process of, well, is that really what you want? Or is that someone who was in your ear telling you, oh, you should do that? I mean, the point of being an entrepreneur is ultimately to find out about yourself, because you are the business owner. And so if an individual just wants to have a quick coffee chat, I'm happy to have that interaction with them. And perhaps I can introduce them to someone, and we can do the good old word of mouth and relational introductions to get that person where they want to go.
That sounds very good. Question. I've been in networking meetings where a staggering number of people haven't written a business plan. Can you give me your perspective on that?
I hear this often. Indeed, some individuals they shy away from that that endeavor because it's very daunting to them. And I don't blame them, because I'll take, for example, a dentist or a lawyer or an accountant. These types of professions, they often require that individual to be in business for themselves, but that's not what they studied. They studied dentistry, maybe they studied law, maybe they studied accounting, and business ownership wasn't in those offerings. So that task might be really daunting. And so speaking to an individual to get that help can be a first stepping stone. Or if an individual who wants entrepreneur says, you know what, I'm going to align with a business that already exists, a business model that has the tried, tested, and true recipe. So I'll kind of copy their business plan or adopt theirs. That is absolutely viable. I mean, we could consider it like a following type of entrepreneurship endeavor, where you won't come up with your own idea. You'll take something existing and add your own flavor to it, which is completely viable, because there's also a saying that goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I mean, there's not a right or wrong answer on that one, Jonathan, but as long as the person aligns their choice with regards to the business plan with the right entrepreneurial opportunity. I can be that gatekeeper for anyone. I am on LinkedIn. You can also find me on YouTube with Top Tier Consulting, and I'll be happy to assist.
Fantastic. The links are going to be in the show notes as well. Now, you have chosen I Am Woman for your musical track. What's the reason for that?
So it's simply, given that I am a woman in business in an financial area, which is often male dominated, I wanted to kind of give a shout out to the females out there who might not think that they're good enough, or that business is made for them, or that entrepreneurship is too male dominated or aggressive for them, and let them know that, hey, it welcomes everyone, and not to belittle ourselves or talk ourselves down of the incredible ambitious goals we have.
Fantastic. Tanya Legault, thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the tune, people.